The ceremonial hall of the galactic nexus glittered with crystalline architecture, a monument to 9 centuries of peace. Representatives from 1,000 worlds had gathered for the 900th anniversary celebration of the Treaty of Eternal Accord. Among them stood General Isabella Chen, humanity's appointed emissary, her uniform bearing the subtle scars of conflicts, long past but not forgotten. Emperor Zhotic of the Krillian Empire towered above the assembled delegates, his chitinous form reflecting the ambient light like dark mirrors. He had ruled for 300 years, a blink in Krillian lifespans, yet long enough to grow contemptuous of the treaty his ancestors had signed with the short-lived mammals of Earth. Isabella felt Leo's presence beside her before she saw him. Commander Leo Vasquez, humanity's military attaché, stood with characteristic stillness, his augmented eyes scanning the crowd with tactical precision. They had served together for 15 years, long enough for words to become unnecessary in moments like these. "Something's wrong," Leo murmured, his hand drifting imperceptibly toward his sidearm. Isabella nodded, almost invisibly. The Krillian honor guard had shifted positions, creating clear firing lanes. After 900 years of peace, humanity had grown complacent. But Isabella's instincts, honed through border skirmishes in the outer colonies, screamed warnings. "Emperor!" Zhotic's speech droned on, his translator rendering his clicks and hisses into standard galactic. "And so we celebrate 9 centuries of prosperity, built upon the wisdom of restraint and the strength of unity." The words were poison wrapped in honey. Isabella had read the classified reports, knew about the Krillian expansion into disputed territories, their accidental destruction of human mining colonies. The Galactic Council turned blind eyes. Humanity was young, barely 3 centuries among the stars, while empires like the Krillians had ruled for millennia. General Chen Zhotic's translated voice suddenly cut through her thoughts. "Would you honor us with humanity's perspective on this glorious anniversary?" Every eye in the hall turned toward her. Isabella stepped forward, aware that she represented not just Earth, but the 37 colony worlds, the 12 billion souls who called themselves human. She opened her mouth to speak the carefully prepared, diplomatic platitudes. The plasma bolt struck her chest. Before the first word left her lips, time fractured into crystalline shards. Isabella felt herself falling, the ceremonial armored creative, not functional, offering no resistance to the Emperor's personal sidearm. Through dimming vision, she saw Leo move, saw the shock ripple through the assembled delegates, saw Zhotic's mandibles spread in what might have been satisfaction. "The treaty," Zhotic announced, his weapon still raised, "was signed by humans who understood their place. This new generation has forgotten. Consider this a reminder." Isabella's hand found the emergency beacon on her belt as darkness closed in. One press. That was all it took. The signal would reach the human fleet, stationed at the system's edge, would reach Earth, would reach every human colony scattered across the spiral arm. Leo caught her as she fell, his face a mask of controlled fury. Around them, delegates scattered, some fleeing, others frozen in shock. The Krillian honor guard raised their weapons, expecting easy prey. They had forgotten what humanity was. "Medical team to General Chen's position." Leo's voice was steady ice as he activated his CUM. "All human personnel, Protocol Omega. I repeat, Protocol Omega." The words were a ghost from another age, a contingency plan, so old that most had forgotten it existed. But humanity remembered its wars. Humanity always remembered. Isabella's eyes fluttered open one last time. 900 years, she whispered. "They thought we'd forgotten how to fight." "Rest, General," Leo said softly. "We remember." The first human warship emerged from quantum space 17 minutes later. Then another, and another. The Peace Fleet. They'd been called a polite fiction. In truth, humanity had spent 9 centuries building, preparing, hoping it would never be necessary, but ready if it was. Admiral Sarah Okonkwo's face appeared on every screen in the Nexus. "Emperor, you have committed an act of war against humanity. You have 1 hour to surrender yourself for trial. If you refuse, the Krillian Empire will face the consequences." Zhotic laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You are children playing at war. My empire spans 10,000 systems. What can you possibly?" The tactical display on every screen shifted, showing the deployment of human forces, not just the Peace Fleet, everything, every warship, every carrier, every weapon humanity had built in 900 years of supposed peace. "We are 3 centuries old, Admiral Okonkwo's voice cut through Jothic's bluster. "You are ancient, comfortable, slow. We are young, hungry, and very, very angry. He wanted to remind us of our place. Let us remind you what happens when you push humanity too far." The first Krillian fortress fell within 3 hours, not through superior numbers, but through tactics and technology that 9 centuries of peace had allowed humanity to perfect. Humans didn't fight like the ancient empires, with honor and tradition. They fought to win. Isabella woke in the medical bay of the UN's Indomitable, Leo standing vigil beside her bed. Through the viewport, she watched Krillian ships burn against the stars. "The Empire sued for peace," Leo reported. "Jothic is dead, killed by his own people before we could reach him. They're offering unconditional surrender." "How long did we fight?" Isabella's voice was hoarse. "For days. The Galactic Council is in chaos. Every empire that thought humanity weak is recalculating. The treaty is dead, but fear is a fine replacement." Isabella closed her eyes, feeling the weight of what they'd unleashed. 900 years of peace, shattered by one moment of arrogance. But perhaps that was the truth the galaxy needed to learn. Humanity had signed a peace treaty, not because they couldn't fight, but because they chose not to. The moment that choice was taken from them, the galaxy remembered why. Earth's first ventures into space had been greeted with terror rather than welcome. They had mistaken restraint for weakness. It was a mistake they would not make again. Outside the viewport, human ships patrolled the debris field, and Isabella knew that the next treaty would be written very differently. The galaxy's empires would sit across from humanity, not as ancients condescending to children, but as equals facing an apex predator they had foolishly awoken. The 900-year peace was over. A new age had begun.